Chapter 42. It was 8:25 a.m. when Celeste walked into Max's office. Max sat at his desk, reading the disc Celeste had retrieved for him. "You aren't late, Celeste, but you're cutting it a little close." Max rose to his feet and walked past her. "Sorry." Celeste scurried after him. "I had a few things to take care of before my schedule could be cleared for the morning." "I'm going to reiterate, Celeste. What you're going to see today is classified." Max paused to look into her eyes. "You've seen how I handle people who defy me. I don't want to have to do it to you." Celeste swallowed hard. She nodded and scampered after him as he strode down the hallway again. He led her to a corridor with an arched sign that read MFP Research Laboratories, Authorized Personnel Only, over it. The door had been shut. Max placed his hand on the scan pad to the right. The door slid open, and they walked into a white hallway. A purple light washed over them. "How pretty!" Celeste put her hands out into the light. It tinted her fur violet. A smile tugged at Max's lips as he watched her. "It's ultraviolet. It eradicates viruses, bacteria, anything that could contaminate my labs." The light faded, and he continued to lead her past closed doors to another locked door. Max stood still in front of it. A warm wave of red light caressed their forms. Celeste let her mouth curl into a pout. "This one's not as nice." Max chuckled. "It's an access scan." "Unauthorized personnel detected," said a digital voice. Celeste started. She glanced around, but Max stood as still as stone. "Add unauthorized personnel to access list," he said. "Authorized user access ID required." "User access ID A855679, Max said. "Access ID confirmed," the computer said. "Unauthorized personnel, please place your hand on the handprint scanner and state your name." "Oh, Celeste placed her hand on the same place Max had. "Celeste Cincinnati." "Please confirm personnel information. Celeste Cincinnati, employee number 54323-6, age 22, birthday June 21st, date of freedom April 22nd. The computer continued to rant off her information. Celeste's mouth dropped open. "How does it know?" Max didn't answer. When the computer finished listing her information, he said, "Confirmed." "Access level?" the computer asked. "Level 5, Max said. "Access list modified," the computer said. "New user access ID added, R397287. The door slid open. "Keep a note of your access ID, Celeste." Max strode through the lab entrance. "It's the only way you can access anything in here." "Oh, I wasn't paying attention." Celeste scurried after him. "Always pay attention." Max didn't even look at her. "I'll give it to you again later. You now have limited access to this lab, but do not come down here without my knowledge and do not tell anyone I gave you access." He narrowed his eyes. "Understand?" "Yes, Max." "Good." Celeste walked through the door. A cold blast made her fur fluff out, and soon she was shivering. "Why is it so cold in here?" "For the equipment." Max handed her a white lab coat and donned one himself. Celeste gazed at it before putting it on. It looked like Isha's lab coat. She let her ears fall. She hadn't thought about Isha in years. She hoped she wasn't Terrence's new favorite. "Keep up, Celeste." Max had donned black rubber gloves. Looking around, Celeste saw more hanging on the walls, along with the lab coats and black rubber boots lined up on the floor. She scampered to join Max. Beakers, Bunsen burners, centrifuges, computers, and other bright steel contraptions Celeste had no knowledge of filled the tables set up around the lab. Max had stopped in front of a chamber that ran the height of the room. It was made of metal and had a glass front. All around the edges of the chamber ran multicolored wires. Scientists in white lab coats and black rubber gloves scrambled up and down, scribbling on clipboards or tapping on computers. "Max!" One of the scientists rushed up to him. "Take a look at this!" He pointed to the chamber. Max leaned in to see what he was pointing at. Celeste peered over his shoulder. Xena was hanging inside, suspended by fasteners around her hands and feet. Her breathing was deep and even, and her head bowed, making her chin rest on her chest. But that wasn't what made Celeste cry out. It was her fur. It had become silver. Not merely shiny gray or shimmery, but a dull sort of silver, like scratch-polished jewelry. "Max, how did you make her fur like that?" Celeste swung around to him. What did you do to her? Not a thing. Max read a clipboard handed him by a scientist. Haven't been able to. You're looking at her natural fur. How is this possible? Celeste gazed up at Xena's sleeping face. The only difference between her and us is the amount of metal she has. Max handed the clipboard back. She was born with a genetic disorder that causes her to store excess amounts of it in her fur, enough to conduct electricity. As a matter of fact, the machine is pumping 15,000 volts into her with no harmful effects. A lynx stepped forward. She's able to conduct electricity through her fur, and one day she'll be able to manipulate it. Manipulate electricity? Celeste gasped. She really is a silver fox. Our research seems to indicate the particular properties we're interested in don't reveal themselves until after puberty, the lynx said. But she's 12 and changing fast. I'm curious to see how far we can push her. Be careful you don't let your scientific curiosity get the better of you, Dr. Marine. I wanted you to experiment on her, not kill her, Max said, crossing his arms. You had no idea she could survive such voltage. The lynx pushed up her glasses. This is a carefully monitored situation, sir. We watched her vitals. We would not let her die. See that you don't, Max glowered at her. She's the only one in existence, and I have my own agenda to pursue. Celeste tuned out Max and Dr. Marine's conversation and focused on Xena. A silver fox. The legend claimed silver foxes were born gray and didn't receive these powers until they proved themselves. Maybe there was some truth to it. A few weeks ago her fur was gray, but now... Celeste rested her hand on the glass. Poor thing. All this fuss over her fur. Celeste knew what it was like. When Xena woke up, she'd been for a rude awakening. Xena's head bobbed. Celeste jerked her hand away from the glass. Xena's head swayed slightly. Her eyes twitched before fluttering open. For a moment, they drifted around, not settling on anything. She shut her eyes, then opened them again. This time they focused. She must have understood her situation now, for she jerked against the fasteners and cried out. But Celeste heard nothing. The chamber was soundproof. Then Xena's eyes rested on Celeste. She said Celeste's name. Celeste saw her mouth move, pronouncing the syllables making up her name. A mute cry for help. Celeste bit her bottom lip. The button to release her was right there on the control panel of the machine. All she had to do was push it, and Xena could use her silver fox powers to escape. But where would it leave Celeste? Max would be furious if she helped the only silver fox in existence to escape. He'd get rid of her for sure. And just when he had let her into his confidence, showed her things he hadn't even shown to Jordan and Janae. She had found a place in the GFG Corporation. She couldn't lose everything now. Celeste turned her back on the silver fox. Max? He was deep in conversation and didn't answer her. Max! What, Celeste? Celeste pointed at the chamber. She's awake. The silver fox gazed at Celeste with her mouth agape. Celeste narrowed her eyes. What did she expect? You can't count on anyone to stand up for you. It was a lesson Xena had better learn fast. Max approached the chamber even as the silver fox cowered against her bonds. Hello there, sweetheart. He placed his hand on the glass. The silver fox shrank down, her short breast making her tremble. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Max shut the machine off. I've got to let her rest so I can run my own tests on her. But, sir, Dr. Marine said, you will bring her back. Of course. I have to unlock all her secrets. Max turned to Celeste. Go back to the office now, Celeste. I'll be there soon. Right. Celeste turned to leave. And Celeste? She turned. Max put a finger to his lips. Remember, this is our little secret. He winked at her. I won't tell a soul, Celeste said, her smile so wide it hurt her cheeks. She nearly skipped her way out of the laboratory.